Full disclosure, this is going to be as quick as you can possibly do it, hitting the points you need to, as well as doing what's important. Now, I'm going to be going off complete memory, so you're going to have to forgive me if I forget something important or if I don't line out something that's absolutely this is what it is, but it will give you a very decent overview of what you need to do and the point of interest you need to do it and in what order. So realistically, you're starting the game as per normal. You're killing Wolf King. So I'm going to do this as quickly as I can, right? You're killing Wolf King. You're not doing any of the side quests. You're going straight to the harbor. You're doing the couple of kill mercenaries there. You're progressing straight away. You're making sure that you buy the mount as you're going from the Wolf King to the mercenaries. You can't miss it. It's on your right hand side as you're going through the valley there. As soon as you've finished that, you're going to go to the gate. Basically, same thing. Stories, collect the fish, hand that in. Story. Then, as soon as you go into town, you want to make sure that once you're there, you don't want to grab any of the side quests. You want to continue the story. You want to finish the university. And you want to, as soon as you finish the university and you're heading this way towards the next part of the story, you want to make sure you check the ancient chest spawn right here. It's super important. If it's there, you're basically the first possible chance to get an ancient chest. I think there's some at the very start, but I don't remember the exact location. So make sure you check here. There are tons of inventory chests around this area. You can kind of get it. There's one here, one here, one here, one here. So there's quite a few. So progressing through the story, down here, you want to make sure you hit the regional, as well as you want to stay here until you're level 5 or 6. If you're getting XP scrolls, I strongly advise you stay here till 6, especially if you're in a partner, in a group, alone, it doesn't matter. 6, right here, so you want to progress down this road, turn right. There's a lot of mercenaries in this area that you can AoE very quickly. Level 6. Continue through the story. Do not waste your time on side quests like I haven't here. Story. Amphitheater, kill the boss. You want to do the regional. Make sure you kill the regional. You're progressing to the mushrooms. At this point, you want to make sure that you're staying here till 8.5. If you can stomach it, you can stay till 9 with XP scrolls, but it's full on. While you're here grinding though, this is completely out of the way, no side quests, no story, no nothing. You want to make sure you collect 8 Kazakor treasure maps. 8. You want to make sure it's 8 of 8, not 8 or not 7 of Kazakor and then 1 of Eldion or whatever, right? So you want to make sure you have 8. And then progress through the story. Now, there is the giant boss here, so make sure you hit 8. You have the 8 treasure map pieces. You hit the giant. You continue through the main story at the farm. You do not want to worry about any of these side quests, though. You can pick them up, but it's all about if you want the speed. The XP is not major. The rewards are minor. The only thing that's a little bit important here is the quest where you actually will be teleporting. So there's a teleportation quest, which is actually this one. I've left it there. And that one is basically saying go to Kazakor within a certain time frame. So while you're doing this quest, you can hand in your giant turn-in, which you've just done before. You can hand in your 8 Kazakor treasure map fragments and then continue the story. You go into the maze, hit the regional, make sure you've done that. And again, no side quests, continue on over the bridge. Story quest, ignore the grassland giant. It is a pain in the ass to kill. It takes significant time. We will come back to this shortly. Continue the main story. You can hit this regional, no issues with doing that. Down on the right hand side, there's a huge side quest hub. It's massive, right? You can easily spend 15-20 minutes here, depending how quick, slow you are, whatever. I always choose to ignore this. This whole area is skippable. There's no reason to do it. You don't need the XP. It doesn't bottleneck you at any point. Ignore it. Continue through the side quest, hit the farm. You can pick up the side quest here, which is collect the mushrooms. You collect the mushrooms, you can do the regional while you're collecting the mushrooms. So maybe don't do it on your way through. Get the main mission, hit the pumpkins, do the side quest, continue on to the story. Story with the ghost. If you've come here first, you'll have access to the crusade. The crusade is accessible, or you can activate it easily with the little glowing pile here where the cursor is currently. So you can do that, no issues. It's 90 ghosts. It's good XP. If you're by yourself and you've gotten here first, you have access to grabbing all the ghosts, AoEing them down without getting kill stealed and maximizing XP. Here is a great grind spot, but it goes to shit within an hour or so while everyone gets here. People start KSing. It's just not worth the time to do it. Anyway, continue the story, kill a group of ghosts. You can grab both groups, AoE them down with the NPC if you're solo or in a group. Kill the main boss here, not the tree. Kill the main boss, hand it in, go back to the farm, turn all your quests in, no problems at all. He will then send you back to Kazakor, and this is where you get your first real blessing. So you go back to Kazakor, you teleport back down here, so into town, back down here. You want to kill the tree because that's part of the blessing quest. So you want to kill the tree, grab the box, grab the item that it drops. You do this by default if you've got the inventory space. You turn the quest back in for killing the tree, so you get a nice lump of XP back at this NPC here in the camp. You then want to, hopefully, two choices. You can teleport back to this farm where you came from, which is the moles or whatever you want to call them, the first farm, and then you want to be fighting the mercenary and the ranger just here on this bend. If they're not there for whatever reason, they pat up and down this road. They haven't been on the CBT and test servers, so not too sure what that about. Maybe they're stuck there now. I kind of like that if they are. It's a pain in the ass going up and down the road looking for them if they have spawned or haven't spawned. It is a little bit confusing, so hopefully that hasn't changed. So they're stuck there. Again, not too sure about that. Anyway, once you've done that, you'll be turning in your blessing. The blessing is found here in that quest hub that we skipped. Now, if you really, really want to, you can absolutely do the side quest. There's no big deal. Should you not, hand in the blessing. You're all done and dusted. Can go back to town at this point. So you want to go all the way back to the main city. It basically tells you continue on to Navarra. You're done with Kazakor. Now, at this point, if you've got regionals popping up on your map, I suggest you go do them. It's good lump experience as well as the experience you get from the monsters and certain rewards. Take these rewards as a grain of salt because I'm higher level than you will be at the time. But they do start offering decent rewards, upgrade stones mostly in the green spectrum. Continue on to Navarra. There are side quests here that you can find the boy and kill the birds. Not really worth doing. Should you want to do it though, there's a group of birds up on this hill. There's a huge range of them. So, huge range, like 8 or 10, whatever. But they're all grabbable to AoE. So, we're talking about, between 8 and 10k XP. Should you not be using the scroll? Should you be using the scroll, you'd be 1.5 in that. It's not really worth doing. I just end up skipping them. I go into town, turn in the main story, continue down here. Again, main story, ignoring all the side quests like I have done. Proof in the pudding, right? Continue through the main story, heading down here. Do not do the regional while you're coming down here. You'll be looping back around, so that's fine. Grab all the side quests here, that's important. So I've left them here just to show you what I'm talking about. As you progress down this road, and the main story is up here. Excuse me, more like here, right? So as you're progressing through the story, you'll be grabbing the supplies, you'll be finding the sheep or goats, whatever. When you're progressing through the little camp area, if you don't have upgraded weapons, and hopefully you do, if you don't have upgraded weapons by this point, just turn directly to your right, kill the 2 ads against the fence. Otherwise, the boss will call them between 30 and 50% HP. It's not really difficult, just kite and kill, no big deal. It is a little bit annoying if you haven't upgraded your weapons, which you should have done at the amphitheater, as well as when you're progressing through Navarra, which I didn't mention. So Amphitheater, once you get there, upgrading your weapons at the common as high as you can with the gold that you have. And then the same thing once you go through Navarra. So you hit the story quest, no dramas at all, but before you come down this way, you want to make sure you go to the common enhancer. Again, upgrade as much as you possibly can. It might only be 1 or 2. That's fine. Do not worry about armor pieces at this time unless you absolutely need to. It's doubtful. And then continue on. Now, here's the big thing. At this point, you should be level 10, 9 or 10. There is a camp down here where the goats are. This is probably one of the best grind spots in Bless. Like, undoubtedly one of the best grind spots. So you want to stay here till 10 to 12, especially if you have XP scrolls. If you have XP scrolls, just stay here. It is insane. The spawn rate is fast. The mobs are in close proximity. You can either group AoE them down or just single target and kill. They offer about 1,000 XP per kill. Not only that, they offer some gear as well. It's just a win-win. Should you be bored with that or finished with that, I still strongly advise you leave between 10, 11 or 12 if you've got XP scrolls. You hit the regionals, you turn all the side quests in here, and you continue through the main story. The main story is no longer behind the tree. It's somewhere on the road. It's changed, I guess. No big deal. Hand the story in, continue up. So this is basically when you're kind of looking at Harpy. Do not worry about Harpy for the main interim, not even for a while. 1, because it takes a long time to kill, and 2, people aren't up to it yet. So just let the noobs do whatever they want to do when you worry about what you need to do later. Anyway, you're ignoring all the side quests here, no issues at all. Hand the main story in, continue on. This regional you don't want to do. The grass are not everywhere, but they're rarely, and they're like scarce. So there's no point doing that. Continue through the story. There's really no point to do any of these side quests. It will send you to the fortress. The fortress, do the regional, no problem at all. This is the eavesdrop quest. The eavesdrop quest is a little bit dicky if you don't have upgraded weapons. So once again, if you haven't upgraded your weapons by now, you absolutely need to. It is critical at this point onwards. So you need to upgrade your weapons as high as you possibly can with a common enhancer. You don't want to go too high because then they'll start breaking, but you won't have to worry about that until later. Do the regional, kill the boss. There is a side quest here in the house, farm, hut, whatever you want to call it. He has a quest, and a quest. They offer large XP, do them all. The side quest will send you back here, speak with the soldier. Once you go back here, the soldier is actually located here where the cursor is, behind the pillar. There are a bunch of soldiers, but just hit him and then go straight here to turn it in. No problem at all. Continue through the main quest line. There is a graveyard or churchy area here. You hand that in. There's a couple of side quests here. They're kind of worth doing at this point because we're here where it's not really out of our way. It's really just there. It's quick and easy. 2 ghosts, 1, 2, as well as the robbers. Kill 8 robbers, turn in XP. Those are probably the only side quests actually worth doing. All the rest are not really worth it at all. The Stone Zephyr that you would have passed, don't worry about it. Once again, you wouldn't have the gear score to do it, and we'll be flying through that very soon. You'll progress all the way down here. You'll kill a bunch of gnolls, or whatever you want to call them. Big ugly things. Sorry, getting comfortable. And basically that's it. You want to continue through up here where the big hub is. Again, more story quests, excuse me. Do not worry about any of the side quests. You still don't need to do any of this. There's really no need. There is a common enhancement, just in case you've forgotten. You need to do this at this point. There's some mean-ish bosses coming that it's just not worth doing without upgrading your gear. Continue through the story. There's a bunch of things you need to do up here, killing individual mobs and what have you. There are a bunch of regionals. So again, 1, 2 regionals worth doing as you're going from point to point. So these stories are kill here, kill here, kill here. Like I said, you're basically going to the regional point, so you don't have to beeline it to the region and be like, oh, let's go do this first. You're actually going to go to these locations as you progress, so there's no need. Again, with the bosses, it's hit and miss if you have enough gear score. Technically speaking, with 3 or 4, or if you're in a group, they're doable. And the main thing with these are they reset to you. So if you do them earlier, the better. You'll get more XP, more rewards quicker. So the quicker that you can clear, the better off that you will be. So all the regionals get done, the stories get done. The last story for this mob, where you have to kill the 3 bosses, they've slightly changed the positions where they spawn and almost what they do. I didn't feel like they were charging or dropping totems as much as they have been, so maybe they were nerfed. But regardless, these bosses actually have the chance to drop blue C grade gear. It's rare, but it can happen. Now, the thing is, when you are here doing these quests, you want to make sure you take your time in these areas right here. There are elite mobs. They're not really your normal elites found in other games where you have to have a group and a healer and tank, whatever. They're just more chunky boys. They'll do 50% of your HP damage if you get cleave, so don't get hit. But more importantly with this is that they do have a high chance to drop C grade upgradable gear, which is absolutely massive at this point. Now, let's say you're not level, I would say 12 or 13 by this point. Just grind here. Honestly, just stay here until you're 12 and 13. You might have a chance to grab some C grade gear, trade it with your friends. I'll explain how to do that later, probably in the guide. It's a bit pain in the ass to go through. Continue through the story. All these side quests are worth grabbing at this point, where you have to find the monsters. I think it's the ostrich and the lion. I honestly don't remember, but in any case, one was found. Testing my knowledge here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like I'm pretty sure. One is here and one is up here. So one here, one here. They basically have a green nameplate, so they're not your typical red monster. So that's fine. There's no issues. Continue through the story. The side quests are all worth doing from this point onwards. If you're not 12 and 13, you want to start killing everything you see as you progress through the game from now on. All the side quests are worth doing. They offer good XP. There are plenty of regionals in these areas. Main quest story. There's nothing further that you need to worry about here. There's the Crocodile Lake, which is a great source of XP. If you get to this lake first, you can easily grind here to 14, maybe even 15, no issues at all. Great source of XP if you can afford to stay there with an XP scroll. Even if you feel like you're not progressing with quests, that's fine. Just get the XP, you'll need it anyway. Progress through the story. There's really not much more to this area. There's only a couple of more stories. You enter into Fairyland. I call it Fairyland. So basically, there is one more boss here, the big tree. Again, he's too hard to kill. There's no point even worrying about it. I don't think you actually get sent that far, yet. Some of you will obviously know where you're going. The main thing for this area now is that your gear score is high enough. You'll probably be facing problems at this point. If you do face issues with gear score, you want to make sure you're hitting your resets for your regionals, as well as potentially checking Auction House for any cheap Starseed gear. Now, you'll only have probably 4 or 5 hours of cheap. What I mean by cheap is 5-6k Starseeds per purchase. But if it puts you over that threshold where you drop or raise your gear score enough, you can come back down here and start farming the snakes. The snakes will drop B grade gear, which you can easily sell for a lot of funds, as well as upgrading your gear score quickly. It's mainly for, in my opinion, making sure your gear score is ready for Tristeza, which is the next area over, but more importantly to get some star seeds early so you can buy even better gear without having to worry about it. The main other things are just make sure your level's high enough to progress through the story. I think it's now 18, 19. If you have to grind it, just grind it at snakes. I can't stress that enough. It does feel a little bit sluggish, and there will be people there by this point, but the chance for the gear, watching the regionals, making sure you're hitting those bosses as they spawn, as well as the normal regionals, which can easily offer C grade gear as well as other nice little rewards. The other one is there's a loop down here. Sorry, I haven't unlocked it for you guys on the map, but there's a loop down here which you can go around and around. There's a couple of big name elites. They're about 3k XP each, 4.5 with a scroll. Very good source of quick XP as you're doing the loop. Same things apply. B grade gear, good XP. They are clumped together a lot, so you will find yourself in sticky situations, especially at the gear score that you guys will currently be on. That's pretty much it for Kazakor and Nevarra. There's really nothing you need to worry about. I will send you guys the treasure map or ancient treasure map map. So basically I would put that on another screen and make sure you're having a look at the locations for the treasure map. They mentioned that they might change for launch. I can't disclose if they will or not anyway, so if they change, they change. I'm sorry about that, but if they don't, it would be good to make sure that you know where they are should you be progressing through the area faster than others, which sounds like you will be. The main thing I'll just quickly go over once again before I wrap this up is level 5, 6 here at the mercenaries, 8, 9, 10 at the mushrooms, 10, 11 by the time you finish the graveyard and your blessing, 11, 12, potentially 13 with XP scrolls, 12, 13 up here in the fortress with the eavesdrop, 13, 14 by the time you finish the gnolls and these quests, and then sending down. Again, just make sure you're 13, 14 by this point. If you're not, just you can farm some XP down here, or alternatively, like I said, farm down here with the elites to make sure you're getting some C grade gear. Then you're progressing down 14, 15 in these types of areas, more gnolls and side quests. There's a lot. Feel free to grab them and do them. 15, 16 at crocodiles, probably your best bet. You can also go to elephants, but technically they're crowded and I prefer crocodiles. You can get decent gear. I haven't really found any at elephants, so I can't honestly say, but at crocodiles you can get some decent gear, C grade stuff as well. 15, 16 here. 17 and 18 you start entering the forest with your snakes and your lizards. So these are the other mobs: lizards, snakes and frogs. 18 and 19 all the way up to 20, 21 is generally where I leave the lizards and frogs. I technically leave at 20 if I'm really grinding it down and I'm in the zone. I'll go to 21 with XP scrolls, and then I'll be completely done with Kazakor and heading into Nevarra. That's your guide from 1 to 20. Pretty straightforward. Should be done in approximately 4 to 5 hours if I was to put a time on it, depending how smooth it is. Now that you can travel to telepost with gold, you don't even need to worry about like walking back or mounting up and teleporting around. As long as you hit the telepost, mate, it's pretty easy to get around these days.